All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. I always do that, right? I want to welcome y'all to a Happy Hour Network special. And this is our Cleveland Browns, or this is my Cleveland Browns midseason review. I know I should have done it in week 8, but I wanted to wait for them to play 8 games, maybe 9, so they got through 8 games. So this is something I'm deciding to do for my Cleveland people and my Browns fans, or it's just some Cleveland stuff that I want to do and I feel like doing. Um, it's been an interesting season. At the it's just been one of those seasons, man. And here we are halfway through it. Before I get started, I want to thank everybody for y'all votes again. The results will be, I'll know if I win or not this coming up Sunday. But thanks for voting for me. Thanks for voting for Club Pizzle. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all deserve a round of applause. I don't want to hold y'all long. I just want to break down what's happening this season. Um and answer a few supporter questions. I'm not gonna call y'all fans. I'm calling y'all my supporters. I like the word supporter. So let's get to it, man. Through 8 games, through week 9, going into week 10, the Cleveland Browns are currently 5-3 in a 3-way tie for second place in the AFC North. If you include the tiebreakers, they are in third place behind the Pittsburgh Steelers and ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals because of losses to the Pittsburgh Steelers and a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's how that falls. They are currently the 6th seed in the AFC North, which, with what's been going on this season, is a win all in itself. You know, it's just been one of those type of seasons, man. Let's go through these games. I'm just gonna give you scores. I'm gonna just go week 1 through 10, 1 through 9. In week 1, they opened the season with a 24-3 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, and the dominated that game. The defense dominated. The defense showed up. They pressured Joe Burrow. They beat up on Joe Burrow. The weather was bad. They ran the ball. They basically just got a dominant win in victory over a division team, which you need, which is important in the NFL, and which is mostly really important when it comes to the AFC North. I still call it the AFC Central myself, just because of, especially this year. This year is really just AFC Central esque. Just it's black and blue. These teams are beating the crap out of each other. They followed that up with a Monday night loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers by a score 26-22, where they turned the ball over numerous amount of times, with 2 of those turnovers, one being a pick six, another one being a fumble recovery for a touchdown. For the most part, the Browns dominated that game. They outplayed the Steelers, but when you turn the ball over and you have bad quarterback play, that's what happens. They come back the very next week back home against the Tennessee Titans, where they win that one 27-3. In another game in which the defense dominated, in which Deshaun Watson played his best game of the season. And that's really been his best game of the season. Probably his best game as a Cleveland Brown. And that's also the game where he got himself dinged up, which I'm going to talk about soon here. They come back the next week after that, and they lose at home 28-3 to the Baltimore Ravens. Dorian Thompson-Robinson looked like he shouldn't even been out there. He looked like he shouldn't even make an NFL roster at that point. It just looked so bad. Excuse me, y'all. They got dominated by the Baltimore Ravens, who are currently in first place in the AFC North. After the bye week, they came back and they played another home game. They had 3 straight home games here, which means they're getting ready to. They're gonna be on the road at the end of the year or something like that. Like they staggered playing these 3 straight home games was crazy, right? No, it was 3 straight. They beat the San Francisco 49ers, who at that time I believe were undefeated. They were undefeated, best team in the league. That game, I believe PJ Walker. I'm gonna call him his name on this show. On Club PIZZLE, he's not this. But they come in and they get a much needed victory, a hard fought victory. The defense, again, showed up and they beat the San Francisco 49ers. They come back the week after that to beat the Colts by a score of 39-38. They forced turnovers. They gave up 38 points, which they shouldn't have, but they got that dub. They go to Seattle the week after that, and they lay an absolute egg, 3 turnovers. They lose 24-20. And in week 9, of course, which is this past Sunday, they defeat the Arizona Cardinals by a score of 27-0 in Deshaun Watson's second return. He came back for the Colts game. I think he played maybe 4 or 5 plays. He went down. They say he was in concussion protocol. Kevin Stefanski said he did that to save his quarterback, in which I reiterated that he did that. He's learning from the mistakes that he had with previous quarterbacks and playing hurt, and it messed their season up. So that brings them to a record this year of 5-3, which easily could be 7-1, to be all the way honest. And any Browns fan, like, y'all watch the games. The Seattle game was a game that they should have won, and a game that they had a chance to win, and that they blew at the very end. And if the offense doesn't give up 14 points, they blow the Pittsburgh Steelers out. But don't live off of what ifs. You go off of what happened in the games and the final scores. So they stand at 5-3. Current stats: Deshaun Watson, despite missing parts or all of how many games? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Is still our leading passer. 85 of 137 for 902 yards, with an average of 6.6 yards a throw, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and his quarterback rating is 86, which is not the Deshaun Watson that we wanted to see, not the Deshaun Watson we thought we were getting when they signed him for $230 million. And I hate saying that because I don't pocket watch, but I'm just doing this for you guys. He went down in the Titans game. At the end of the Titans game, had it's an injury to the rotator cuff, in which they sat him the next week because he couldn't get any velocity on the ball. They sat him the week after that, went into the bye, had a bye week. Sat him for the San Francisco game, come back for the Indianapolis game, which I think was too fast. I honestly didn't think he should have played in the previous week, this Cardinals game. I don't think he should have played then. But that's me. I'm not the coach. I don't control that. If he felt good, he's getting out there and he's playing. And he actually didn't play too bad against the Cardinals last week. He made some of his best throws as a Cleveland Brown actually in that game. So salute to him. Jerome Ford is our leading rusher with 425 yards on 107 carries. That is an average of 3.97 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, who was signed after the week 2 injury to Nick Chubb, on 60 carries, he has 196 yards, and he has 5 rushing touchdowns. So this running back by committee thing seems to be working, and as we all know, Nick Chubb goes down in week 2 on Monday night totally changed that game. Out for the season, ACL, MCL, PCL, whatever it has a CL in it, he tore it. But we are still wishing Nick Chubb a speedy recovery. Amari Cooper is the leading receiver, 35 catches for 617 yards and 2 touchdowns. David Njoku has 32 catches for 319 yards, and he has 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore he's been a lot in the offense, involved a lot. We haven't seen a lot of Cedric Tillman. As you know, Donovan Peoples-Jones was traded away to the Detroit Lions at the trade deadline, which a lot of you are not happy about, but that makes room for guys like Cedric Tillman to come in. Also for David Bell to get some more reps, and Chris Godwin, not Chris Godwin, Goodwin, however the hell you call his name, him. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Offensively, they are averaging 4.6 yards a play. No, 6.1 yards a play, 4.6 yards a pass, 4.2 yards per rush. They're still one of the top rushing teams in the NFL, in spite or despite Nick Chubb being out for the season and doing this running back by committee thing with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Pierre Strong. On the defensive side, Grant Delpit leads the team with 41 tackles. Myles Garrett leads the team in sacks with 9.5. And Martin Emerson and Denzel Ward lead the team with 2 interceptions apiece. The defense is giving up 4.4 yards average, 3.7 yards a rush, 5.7 yards a pass. They have 11 total interceptions, 24 sacks. And on the season, as a team, they are -4 in the turnovers, which if you would have told me, like, that usually isn't. And the games where they lost the turnover battle are the games that they lost. You can't be a minus turnover, especially not this late in the season, and win games. But luckily, they are 5-3. They are 5-3. In spite of having Nick Chubb out for the season, in spite of Jack Conklin being out for the season, and losing Jedrick Willis he's been put on IR. He just got injured in the Arizona Cardinals game this past week. They're hoping to get him back before the end of the season. I think putting him on IR puts him down for 6 weeks. That's going to hurt. And Deshaun Watson has missed games. So with all of that and the injuries and the turnover margin being -4, this team is 5-3 and the 6th seed with still one of the top rushing offenses and the best defense in the NFL. I think that's a pretty successful first half. Now you can go and say play calling and coaching and this and that and the third, but let's just focus on them being 5-3 in spite of all of the issues and the questions about Kevin Stefanski's play calling, which isn't bad until certain points in the game. His clock management at times, or his game management at times, isn't the best. I'll admit that. I didn't mention Dustin Hopkins, who has been a great addition. He's come in, he's missed a few field goals, but he's made the crucial ones. Him missing field goals hasn't cost the Browns a game yet this year. And I'm saying yet because it could happen, and it might not happen. Who knows? I think that's just the gist of what I have there. I got a few questions. I sent out a post, and few people had some questions. Let's start with this one. Broncos, Rams, Jaguars, Steelers, Ravens, not in that order. But let me put them in the right order. Let me get them in the right order. Excuse me. Ravens, Steelers, Broncos, Rams, Jaguars. Predict the record, the Browns record over the next 5 games. In a perfect world, they'd go 5-0. I can see them going 4-1. All of these games are winnable, and if they can win them all, it would be great. I got a funny feeling they're going to lose to the Ravens this week, and that's not a win. That's not a team that you need to lose to. They should beat Pittsburgh at home. Broncos, Rams, those should be wins. Jaguars, we should beat them. And if the playoffs ended today, the Cleveland Browns will be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. And just throw that little tidbit out there. But with this defense and a healthy Deshaun Watson, I think give me 4-1. Give me 4-1 there. I think they'll go 4-1 in these next 5 games, with the loss coming against the Ravens this coming up Sunday. They beat the Ravens, they're going 5-0. That's just me. Is Watson going to be in and out the rest of the way because of his shoulder? I don't think so. I think if he plays well and he doesn't take the hits, I think he's going to be fine. I think those 3 throws, and especially that last throw of the Cardinals game, is indication that the shoulder is fine. Now, he said he's had pain and he's going to play with the pain. The pain isn't the issue. It's, can he get velocity on the deep ball? Can he get velocity on passes, period? And that was his biggest issue. So I don't think that the shoulder is going to be an issue going forward, because he looked healthy. He looked healthy. Now he's going up against a punishing Ravens defense. Now, if they can keep him upright and keep guys up off of him, which now is going to be an even tougher task with the makeshift offensive line. Not only are you missing your starting right tackle for the year, you're also missing your starting left tackle, who was starting to play better. He had his 1 or 2 brain farts a game, but Jed played not as bad as everyone wants to make it out to be. And even myself, I owe the Cleveland Browns offensive line an apology, because I thought that they were playing like absolute crap and they looked bad. It was just some games where they were getting pushed around, but they're still a top 3 rushing team in the league, and they keep the quarterback upright. They're fine. So to answer that question again, I think he's going to be in. I think he's going to be in and out. I think he's going to play this out, and barring big punishing hit, I think he's going to be fine. Can good defense override the bad play calling? Can the good defense override the bad play calling? I think good defense can override some bad offensive play. I don't think that the play calling on offense affects the defense any, if you want me to be honest about that one. Is the defense the reason we are winning games? Yes, they're partly the reason. The Cleveland Browns have been playing complementary football. All this offense, and I've said this on Club Pizzle numerous amount of times. If the offense can give you 20 points, you can win games. Look at the wins they've had this year. They've given up 3 points, a shutout, 17 in 4 of those wins. And then the 5th game was the 39-38 shootout. They gave up 24 against the Seahawks in a game they easily could have won by scoring 27 points a game. By scoring 27 in that game. The Ravens game, that's the only game that I'm giving up that's the only L that's really like, all right, they got us in that one. They gave up 26 to the Steelers, which was really 12 because the offense gave up 2 touchdowns. But the defense is part of the reason that they're winning games. They're not the whole sole reason. They've been playing complementary football. Offense, defense, special teams in the games that they've won and dominated, all 3 of those phases have looked fantastic. In the Bengals game, in the Titans game, in this Cardinals game, in the 49ers game. It's been complementary football all the way. And Corey Bororquez, Dustin Hopkins, y'all are giving me flashbacks of Phil Dawson and Chris Gardocki. So to answer that question, partly, yes, they are partly the reason. I mean, they're the best defense in the league. Do you think the Browns should have made a trade at the deadline to add a player? Unless you're adding Devontae Adams or Aaron Donald or somebody of that caliber, the answer is no. Sometimes no trade is better than any trade. Even the Donovan Peoples-Jones trade, I didn't feel necessary, but I think they made it because Cedric Tillman might have something that he might have something. Goodwin, Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper. So, yeah, the answer is no. You don't make a trade for the sake of making a trade. And that's a problem that fans seem to have. Like, they feel like they had to make a trade. No, I trust Andrew Berry until I don't trust him anymore. Okay, that's how I feel about that one. And who should be the Browns starting running back, RB1 for the rest of the season? I think it should go exactly how it's been going. Do it by committee. You're not going to replace Nick Chubb with just one man. Jerome Ford, I've said it. He has he has Nick Chubb's skill set. Jerome Ford does. He's fast. He just doesn't have the vision and the explosiveness that Nick Chubb has. And that's what separates Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is the best running back in the NFL. Let me just go and say it's the best back in the league. Saquon, yeah. Derrick Henry, yeah. Jonathan Taylor, yeah. Nick Chubb was the best in the league. And it's showing. Because I believe with Nick Chubb, the rest of the way in that Steelers game, even though the rushing attack looked great, still, Jerome Ford had a nice little run there. They win that one going away. I believe if we have them in the Baltimore game, there's a different result when you put in a rookie quarterback. I believe the Seattle game is a whole nother result if Nick Chubb is there when you're dealing with a backup quarterback. That's just how I feel. But I'm okay with running back by committee. I'm okay with Jerome Ford getting a few carries, Kareem Hunt on the goal line, because that's where he seems to thrive, inside the 5. Give him that Jerome Bettis, role, and get Pierre Strong some carries, because Pierre Strong had a few. He had some runs where it was like, oh, okay, you can run a little bit. Like, he seems to be getting his legs under him. So, again, do it by committee. Who should get the brunt of the carries? Give Ford those carries. He's young. He can take it. When he needs a spell, let Hunt and let Strong get in there and do their thing. So that's that, y'all. And with that said, I'm gonna get on out of here. Thank y'all. Tune in to Club PIZZLE this week. I will have a full NFL mid-season review. I'm gonna go back and look at my picks, and I'm gonna compare them to where they are now. And then I'm going to predict what I think is going to happen for the last half of the season. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned to that. Once again, thank you all for voting for me for the Ohio Entertainment Awards. The results come out Sunday. Make sure y'all tune in to PIZZLE's Picks, which is up next. Y'all know what it is, man. Always protect your peace, protect your energy. The message is more important than the messenger. And creators be great. Stay positive, because negative energy is trash. Peace, y'all.